Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. So today we're looking at the brand new cards that were released as of the anime for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s from episode 30. First card is Brassick's Knuckle, the Melee Music Maiden. It's a level 3 Wind Attribute Warrior type normal monster with 1000 attack and 1200 defense. Keep in mind none of these have been confirmed for release. This is just the first time we see them within the anime. It says here this card's name's reference two things. Kengaki sounds like keyboard instrument, and Merikensak is Japanese slang terminology for a brass knuckle. And obviously a sax is added to the end. So, that's another musical instrument. Tonfer, the Stabbing Music Maiden. That's a mouthful. It's a level 6 Wind Attribute Warrior type effect monster with 1600 attack and 1000 defense. The requirement is you can activate if there is a normal warrior type monster in your graveyard, and the effect is to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, then choose one face-up monster you control. Until the end of the turn, it gains 100 attack times the number of normal warrior monsters in your graveyard. So potentially you could be getting a decent amount out there, depending on how many of those you're running. Of course, you don't want to be going purely with normal type monsters, as otherwise you've got no effects to rely on, and then you're dependent purely on your spells and traps. If you've got 5 in there, that's an extra 500 points. That can make the difference between some of your opponent's monsters. It being a level 6 is not that great because it doesn't have decent attack for it, but nor does many of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel monsters. So it's not power crept in any sort of way. It does support a very specific archetype, and it will be easily, even if it gets released now, it's going to be a very forgettable series. Note, it does mention here it's not sure on the instrument type. It does say trumpet Tonfer, so I'm guessing that's trumpet. Tonfer as well is a hand weapon like a club, commonly used in Asian martial arts, and of course has the trumpet mentioned as well. Nunku Clarinet, the Whirling Music Maiden, is a level 5 Wind Attribute Warrior type effect monster with 1600 attack. Unfortunately, the defense is unknown, so it must be blurred in this picture. The requirement is if your opponent controls a face-up monster, must be level 7 or higher, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. The effect: if the card you sent to the graveyard for this effect's requirement was a monster, it has to be a Wind Attribute Warrior type. Choose one face-up monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, it loses 500 attack times the number of face-up monsters you control that happen to be Wind Attribute Warrior types. So potentially you're able to dismantle the power of some of your opponent's stronger monsters. Think of it this way. Look at a Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can potentially cut its attack points in half, because at most you're getting 1,500 in its attack stat reduction. At least you can look at a 500 attack reduction. So the more cards you have that meet this requirement, the more damage you'll be able to do within the turn. It's a decent little effect, and considering it's a level 5, the other one's level 6, I would say this is the better of the two. It does see here, as a note, it's unsure as well as to what the instrument might be playing on, and the nunchucks are also classic martial arts weapons, and it mentions the word clarinet. And the final card is Breath of the Music Maidens. It's a normal spell card, and the requirement is you can activate if you control 2 face-up monsters. They must be Wind Attribute and Warrior types. The effect is to choose one monster, level 6 or lower Warrior type in your graveyard, and special summon it to your field face-up. For the rest of this turn, the monster special summoned by this effect cannot attack directly. I don't see this as much of a downside. For an archetype that is very consistent with how it runs, it's fine. I mean, you're going to want to attack with that monster first to get rid of one of your opponent's monsters, and then potentially you don't have the downside of this card's effect. It's a little bit like a specific Monster Reborn or Call of the Haunted for your warrior types. And I do find it intriguing that it supports a Wind Attribute warrior type From my memory, there aren't too many attributes. Many types that do support wind attributes anyway, outside of Winged Beast, and there's a few other ones out there, but generally it's nice to see a bit more of a combination. I am a big fan of the Wheel of Yu-Gi-Oh series, which is to do with Team Samurai X and Farther, where they pair to the attribute. They spin a wheel for their attribute and they spin a wheel for a type. And then if they get a type combination that's incompatible with each other, what they do is they have to re-roll one of them. The example they give is Aqua and Water Thunder, which is basically got no support for it. I saw another episode with him getting Light Fish. There was only one for that. It's called Golden Flying Fish. Otherwise, there is no support for it. So I would love for Konami to be slightly more inventive and to give us those types of archetypes and those types of combinations. Even if it's just one or two archetypes, it will help to vary the game a little bit more.